For the past 40 years, I would say, at least 40. I need to ask my Israeli friends about this, people who actually grew up in Israel. It could be more. The Israeli establishment, Israeli politicians, Israeli government, the Histadrut, Israeli television stations, news stations, Israeli television programs have been on a full-out frontal assault, direct, unabashed, open, shameless, and very kind of self-announcing assault on anything to do with Torah and anyone to do with Torah. They make no bones about it, my friends. And I spoke to some friends or some people on Twitter, and I said, this is what's happening. They literally don't see it. All they see is that somebody's trying to force them to, not take a bus on Shabbos and this and that and the other. Ladies and gentlemen, just understand, the religious community is a very, very insular community. What does that mean? That means that if you don't bother them, right? If they see that society is not, or the people who are like the ruling class in society and the media and politicians and the establishment they live under is not doing anything to go against the Torah openly, what's called mifarhesia, then they won't bother anybody. They're not gonna get in your face. But if they see that society is going in a particular direction, right, it's not like, it used to be that gays, for example, the gay movement was looking for rights. It's one thing the gay movement was looking for rights. People didn't want to be attacked. People didn't want to be harmed. Whatever it is. Fine. Wonderful. Fantastic. It's quite another when Haredi and just by and large, religious and Masorti, traditional society, sees that society, the fabric of society, the fabric of the family, Hashem himself, not to say that Hashem needs you to protect him, Hashem can, so to speak, protect himself, right? But the idea of Hashem is under attack, the idea of Torah is under attack. That's when these people spring into action. As my friend Frank said today, mess around and find out. What's that phrase that everybody's saying? Mess around and find out. Well, you messed around and found out. You leftists, Erev Rav, whoever. You guys messed around and you found out. Again, no one wants to push anything on you, but you have been doing for the last 40 years, incrementally, of course, it didn't happen overnight, just like in America, they've been doing it, the leftists, incrementally, chipping away, pushing and pushing, shoving into our faces, whatever crap you have, okay? Again, you don't want rights anymore, you want power, right? Okay, you want power, you can't have it. You know why? The power that the version of power that you want, or what happens when you get power, is going to be something akin to the Tower of Babel, the generation of the flood, and Sodom put together, right? So what do you want these people to do? What do you want these people to do? They do not want your stuff. They don't want what you're bringing to them. So what are they going to do? They're going to push back. They're going to say, no, hey, you guys want to introduce your stuff into society and compel? You want to compel us to say, call you a certain pronoun? You want to compel speech? You want to compel this? You want to compel this in schools? Okay, we're going to compel our stuff. Guys, you started it. You started it. You don't want to have a dialogue. You don't even want to listen. You don't even, there's rabbis out there trying to do kiruv, trying to educate, and you spit in their face. There's little kids standing out there with, do you want to put on tefillin? You spit in their face. You tell them they can't stand outside of school. Nobody's trying to compel you to do anything. But you want to compel others. And now you're claiming victimhood. Now you're claiming that you're being attacked. You've been pushing for 40 years, guys. And now you're crying, Jewish Iran. Nobody wants to do Jewish Iran. Nobody wants to make any Jewish Iran. Ladies and gentlemen, it's absurd. You don't even know Torah if you think it's going to be a Jewish Iran. My friend is saying, in my opinion, there will be a substantial change, except maybe policy towards Iran. Listen, I think the change that will be is Ben Gvir is going to get in, maybe in some capacity, and just take control of the police and take control of, how we handle terrorists and all these kind of things, and crime. My friends, it seems to me that you basically messed around and found out. Not only that, what it seems to me is that people, Israeli leftists, and probably 75% of American Jews seem to think, I don't know where they get this idea from, it's an ignorant one, that Tel Aviv, or the sentiments of Tel Aviv, are representative of the sentiments of the entire country, right? They can't fathom, they can't accept the majority of Israel is at the very least Masorti, traditional, if not religious. My friends, again, wake up. Again, you've been chipping away and chipping away. You've been shoving your stuff in our faces. Again, it was one thing when you wanted rights and you wanted to be safe and whatever. You don't want to be harassed. That's fine. Everybody should have rights. Everybody should feel free to, be who they are. It is what it is. I can't judge anybody, but that's between you and God. But when you start shoving things into the public sphere, what's called mefarhesia, when somebody's mechalel Shabbat, mefarhesia, when somebody's openly breaking Shabbat, that's just a side thing. That's like a Torah thing. But it's halacha, whatever. But when you're doing what you're doing mefarhesia, it's a problem. And again, at some point, this is the backlash against you. And you know what? I don't even think they're going to do anything based on their values. I think they're going to be curbed. I think Bibi's probably going to curb them anyway, not just with social policies, but he's going to curb them with taking care of what needs to be taken care of with terrorists. Listen, it remains to be seen. But my friends, just understand, you can't behave a certain way, and then when someone comes and calls you out on it, and basically says, tries to basically put a stop to it, and now you're gonna cry, to high heaven. My friend is saying it would be a good thing if Judea and Samaria are nationalized, are annexed. Yeah, it would be a good thing, wouldn't it? Guys, I was talking to my friend Frank, and I mentioned to him that the only prime ministers who technically, if you look, I could be wrong here, you could research this, who pulled people out of their homes en masse, in quantity, have all three of them have been so-called right-wing prime ministers. Menachem Begin, what's his name? Ariel Sharon, and Benjamin Netanyahu. Menachem Begin pulled out of the Sinai. He pulled people out of this place called Yamit. Ariel Sharon, we know what he did with Gush Katif, one of the biggest tragedies in Israeli history. And Bibi pulled people out of Migron and Amona, and other places as well. He continues to dismantle, Jewish homes in Judea and Samaria, which are not even close. People building houses somewhere out, God knows where, not even close to anything, and supposedly they're encroaching. My friend says, tired what they're pushing on us. There's only marriage between men and women. Yeah, listen, again, we can debate that stuff, but it's enough. It's just enough. And now, I don't recommend coercion. I'm with our friend Moshe Feiglin. I don't recommend coercion. But I'm not surprised that this is happening, ladies and gentlemen. I'm really not surprised that this happened, that these people got elected. And we were saying this. We were saying primarily, me and Frank were saying this months ago, if the Arabs keep going the way that they're going, if we let them keep going the way they're going, if successive governments, however they're constituted, right-wing mixture, this, that, moderate, whatever it is, left-wing and right-wing combined, Erev Rav, whatever, keep letting things go the way they go, you're going to have a person like Ben Gvir. I said this in March, guys. You can go back and look at the videotape, in the words of Warner Wolf. Let's go to the videotape. I said it back in March, I can post it. You're going to have a person like Ben Gvir or someone like him as the defense minister or, I don't know, minister of police of Israel. And we're going to handle it a different way, much more draconian than you would have liked. I mean, that's really the only way to handle it, because it's a Middle East. It's not a European country. My friends, and I'm going to say this in Russian, вы доигрались. Вы доигрались. You know, like you overplayed. You played yourselves, you know? You played too much. You messed around and you found out. That's it. Jewish Iran? Doubtful. Torah values, Jewish values? Halavai, hopefully, if only. Jewish Iran? Not really. Not really. My friends, like I said, don't start nothing, won't be nothing. And now it's time for us to progress. We are now in the post-Zionist era. We've gone through the Zionist era. Okay? The people that founded the country wanted nothing to do with Torah or Torah values. They tried to omit as much as possible from anything, you know, when they started the state, from constitutions to inaugurations to ceremonies to anthems. They tried to omit as much as possible anything to do with, they even said, this is to Tanakh. They wanted to put some Tehillim in the anthem or in the swearing-in ceremony. Tehillim, anything from Tehillim, anything from Tanakh, anything that has anything to do with Judaism in the sliver, a morsel, a tiny crumb, nothing. They threw it in the garbage, my friends. But at the end of the day, okay, we have something called Pintele Yid. You can't keep the Jewish neshama down, and you can't keep the collective neshama down. And as we know, the Erev Rav, who comprise a minority, a very kind of loud and maybe even wealthy and powerful minority in the Jewish nation or in the nation, they are not going to win. They're going to be very loud. They're going to be very, aggressive. They're going to go after what they want, which is to destroy the Torah, to destroy Jewish values. They're going to do that. They've been doing it. But they're not going to win, my friends. The people, people like Ben Gvir, guys, they can only be elected by the people. They come from the people, like it or not, good or bad. If you like the guy, you don't personally like the guy, you don't like how he does things, rabble-rouser or whatever, guys, just understand, he's not an establishment person, okay? People like him. So, again, you messed around and you found out, and, the words of Rabbi Kessin, let's see what happens. It's not the Shem, it's only good things. Alright guys, I'll talk to you soon.